Okay, so now we're going to get into the second part of our Infinity Fold assembly here. So I'm going to show us first, um, this is where we want to end up, right? And we had all the different faces that we looked at before, right? So face 1, 16 squares. Face 2 is 8 squares here and here. Plus we have these shared squares on the corners. Face 3 is these 4 and these 4, plus these shared squares on the corners. And then face 4 and these 8 squares and these 8 squares. So once we understand how these are going to fall into here and what we need to do with them, and I made this diagram so you know if it has to be upside down or split in half or what, then we can look at our imagery here and decide how we're going to start to assemble it. So on ours, if we look at our final piece, right, we were like this, and face 1 was the Dylan portrait. So that is the easiest one because we don't have to do any cutting or anything at all for him, right? So let's take a look at our template, and we're going to take our picture of Bob Dylan. And all I need to know is it has to be 16 squares big. So it's going to be 4 squares across and 4 squares down. In this case, that means I need to scale it. So I'm holding the Shift key and getting that to be the right size. So that's 16 squares exactly. All right. I can put that on this side of my template, and he's ready to go. Now the next is, and let's go ahead and do this side right here so that we get one side of the thing done at a time. So now I've got my picture of Milton Glaser, and this is going to show us how we use the clipping mask. So I'm going to put him here, and now I have to actually make him bigger, holding the Shift key. So again, he's going to be 16 squares tall, or 4 wide and 4 tall. Okay? Now what I want to do is split him in half. I've got to split this image in half horizontally. So I'm going to take a rectangle, and it doesn't make any difference what color my rectangle is. Let's make my, it can be any color I want. I'm going to make a red rectangle, right? So I'm going to draw this and make a red rectangle. And I'm going to now make a rectangle over exactly half of Uncle Milty here, right? So that represents that top part. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select the photograph and I'm going to copy it. Edit copy. Now I'm going to select my red square rectangle I made, hold the Shift key, and my photograph. So now they're both selected at the same time with the red square on top. And I'm going to go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make, or Command 7. And now look, Milton has been sliced in half. Right? We just have the top part of him. But remember, I copied my photograph before, so now I can say paste. And here's the photograph again. And now I'm going to line it up on my grid. And now I'm going to make a rectangle that just represents or covers up the bottom half of Milton. Okay? Again, hold the Shift key, select my rectangle, my image, Command 7, and now I have the bottom half of my picture. Okay? And if I were to put them side by side like this, we'll see it makes a complete image. Okay? So I'm going to take this bottom part, and that goes down here. And then the top part goes here. Exactly according to our diagram that we had over here. Okay. The next image I'm going to do this one just to make it simple for us. Now this is going to be 8 squares in a long horizontal. So I'm going to line this up kind of on my grid so I know where I'm cropping it. Like this. And again, I'm going to take my rectangle tool and I'm going to make a rectangle. In this case, it doesn't make any difference what color that rectangle, this mask is that we're making, because it's just a mask. So then this will be this side, and we'll use a white rectangle this time. Again, I'm going to select my picture and copy it. Then select my square at the same time, so my picture and my square are selected. And Command 7 or clipping mask make, and I have the left side of my picture. Let's paste this again. Actually, you know what? I'm going to paste it right in front. Okay, and then I'm going to make another square that represents the other half of my picture. Hold the Shift key, Command 7, and now my picture's split in half. But now what I can do is switch them. So now the left side is going to go to the right, and the right side is going to go to the left. So now they'll be oriented just like our diagram showed us it needed to be. And we can do the exact same thing with our type and any kind of image that we're using, right? Anything we're splitting, we just make a mask on top of it, go to clipping mask, and then we can split this image up however we like. Okay? One more time, let me show you how the clipping mask works. So, any size or any shape that I want to draw over this, I can. So I can take my rectangle tool, I can make a rectangle, however I want to crop it. The only part that's going to show of my image is the part that's underneath this rectangle. Hold the Shift key, select them both, so now my rectangle and the image are selected. Object, clipping mask, make. I'm going to end up with that crop on the image. Okay? If I want to split it in half, of course I have to do it twice. And you want to always check it, make sure that they line up just like I did. And if they do, then you're golden. Okay? So that's basically how to use the clipping mask, taking your image, applying it to the grid. Once I do that, I can hide that template, right? And it will be ready to print once I get all the pieces on it, like this. All right, the next video is going to be a very short one on how to do our folds and make sure that everything actually works out the right way. Okay, so we will be back.